Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
You're listening to Late Night Radio on the SHR Media Network. Caution, there will be mature themes explored and potentially adult language used. If conservatarian words, phrases, certain concepts, or rhetoric offends you, tune out now.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
I have come here to chew bubble gum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubble.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. Live and direct from the SHR Media Network in the SHR North Idaho studio, singular, as I am no longer broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California. I'm in an actual free damn state, which is really cool. By the way, I want to tell everybody, the preface, what you're about to hear tonight consists of my opinion and my opinion only, and perhaps that of my guest. And I got a great damn guest for you tonight. So, I'm inviting you. Come on into the saloon. The water's fine. And the drinks are fine too. Relax, converse. We are still serving stiff drinks. Facts, history, logic, rationality, proportion, context, tradition, intent, and common sense, which is no longer common. And just remember, we don't water our drinks, just like we don't water our conversations. Politics, religion, crime, culture, economics, race, sex, science, law. We talk about it all right here in the saloon, but the speech is in fact free, but the booze is not. As I have said for quite some time, especially in 2025, I'm done with bipartisanship and compromise. I've been labeled a white supremacist. Funny that should come up because that's going to play into this coming show. And as I've said for some time, so you know what? If loving God, my country, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, due process, malum in se versus malum prohibitum, if that makes me a terrorist, okay, I'm cool with that, and I would hope you would be too. Tonight, we're going to be talking about what happened just yesterday in New Orleans, Louisiana, and also in Las Vegas, Some of the stuff makes sense. Some of it is just brain exploded. Before we explode more brains, however, I want to add to the circle of life Jeremy Hansen, and welcome to you, sir. It is great to see you, senor.
Thank you very much for letting me be here, even though I'm still working off a New Year hangover. Still,
you said so, and I distinctly remember that. And I thought, well, it would be rather bad if this blows my brain housing group. I'm going to be 75 this year. Holy shit. I can remember telling myself, dude, you ain't going to make it to 40. Then at 40, I kept telling myself, you ain't going to make it to 50. 60, same thing. 70, same thing. I'm just waiting for my factory issued heart attack, Mark 1, Model 1. And I know it's going to be these things. It's going to be loud. It's going to be supremely inconvenient. It's going to be embarrassing as batshit. And it's going to be really damn painful just because of all the aggregations that I've kind of collected over the years. I can see it coming. Anyway, we're going to be talking tonight with Jeremy Hansen about all the craziness and foolishness that has occurred, a bunch of questions to be asked, a lot of particular facets to be examined. And as you would expect, I've got a shit ton of video for everybody to see, including some video that I'm not sure people have seen before. From, let's see, I have about 75,522 tabs over here. Who are we going to be talking about? Oh, I don't know if you guys are aware of Sarah Adams, but I've got her interview on a couple of shows and also the Sean Ryan show. Sean Ryan being a rather stellar stud, kind of on the order of Joe Rogan, only just different, but gets great people to interview. But before we go there, with the beginning of 2025, Jeremy Hansen, can you tell us about you, about your podcast? I want people to be able to listen to you. What's in your podcast? Where can they hear it? When can they hear it? So if you would let folks know about the Jeremy Hansen podcast, please.
Well, thank you. The Jeremy Hansen podcast, it's on Spreaker, Apple Podcast until last week. Now, don't ask me why. I was on Spreaker, on Spotify, and Spotify eliminated my show off of Spotify. Now, for the third time, and you know what's really weird? I have an entrepreneurial news commentary show. Okay, so it focuses more on making a little bit of money with your family, being able to live the American dream. Now, I used to have a very hard-hitting political show where I talked about things that some people had business knowing, some people had business not knowing, and I got taken down on all my platforms, including Spotify, got put back on Spotify, went off of Spotify, took a 2-year hiatus, came back, and now I'm off of Spotify again. But my Apple and iTunes and iHeart numbers are good enough that, man, I'm telling you, people are resonating because I'm 46th in the world for my podcast right now, which, you just can't do without people. You can't do it without people actually following you. And I feel very blessed and I feel very lucky. And I feel, like watching you do things, it kind of gives you an edge when you got people that have been doing it a while and they do a damn good job. So that's where they can get me. And thank you very much, BZ.
Okay. I don't know if everybody heard what he said. So he told me this. Jeremy Hansen told me this a couple of days ago. And I thought, I think you texted me first. And then I looked at that and I said, oh, come on. Massive bullshit alert. That's not true. Until it's true. So please, the numbers, tell everybody again, because I don't think it went. The first time I heard it, I thought, oh, come on. Tell everybody again that amazing, astounding number.
Okay, I'm 46th in the world. I've been kind of hovering between 60 and 40 going in between. Multiple countries like Greece, I was number one in. Belgium, I was number one in. And all these change daily. But for a small show, it's just me and my wife here. We're doing this. I get help from people like you, but there's no like big income coming in from big companies. So it's astonishing to me knowing what these other people do, that you can actually climb the charts, that people will actually listen to what you have to say. I'll say it's 46, and it kind of makes me giddy to say that, but again, I'm off of Spotify. I wasn't even being political, and somehow I got pulled off of Spotify. So they must not like me over there or something.
So the big question is,
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply.
if you get yanked off of Spotify, do they give you the courtesy of even saying, other than you're out of here, do they give you the courtesy of saying, okay, and here's why you broke this tenet, that tenet, any of that?
No.
Something?
So what will happen here is I'm pretty good friends with the people at iHeartRadio. And last time this happened, the first time I was like, I don't know what I did wrong. I sent emails. No, they wouldn't respond to me. Then I contacted iHeart and I was like, yeah, man, I don't know what happened. They contacted them and they're like, well, the guy was spreading medical misinformation about the CV-19. And which, by the way, now has all been proven to be true.
Oh, hell yeah.
So I wasn't spreading misinformation, but then they pulled me off again. Then when I put the new show up, so it's going to be a song and dance again. They don't tell you, they won't respond to emails. It takes some other big brass to go somewhere and find out, well, what did he do this time? And, my thinking is, and you know this, your RSS feed and your IP address and all those things, when you are deemed a threat to their narrative, you start getting suppressed. And I don't even know what my threat could possibly be. Now I'm sitting there talking about how people can do side hustles and how to do it and make some extra money for your family and travel and live a happy family life and keep your marriage together. And, literally the other day, BZ, I told people the history of pink lemonade. I mean, do you get much?
Wait a minute. Where's my producer? Pink lemonade.
But I'm having a wonderful.
You can't write this shit.
You can't. And I'm really looking for. My wife started a podcast. She's doing okay. It kind of makes my heart feel bad. Okay, I've been at this years, right? And my wife starts one a month ago, and she's like 182nd in America. Now she does a family and children, relationship podcast. So it's a different type of thing, but still, I mean, I don't know, maybe she's just learning from all of us. Like she's staying up at night, watching us, like me and you, like, this is what I need to do. But then the thing that I am so excited about, it's great being 46, on the charts, but what I'm really excited about is I have my comedy podcast coming back on.
Oh, yeah. Tell us about that, because you were there, and then one day you disappeared, and then life with a capital L stepped in. So tell us about the new thingy.
Okay, so we had Morning Crankers, and Morning Crankers, everybody loved it. It was fun. It was lighthearted. We did get into some topics, and during that time, of course, CV-19 happened to be a big punchline of ours, and the idiots and morons that were listening to. Well, maybe I shouldn't go any further than that in your show, but you know what I'm saying.
No. Hey, listen, if there's one thing that I know that you understand about me is that I don't give a shit about ratings. In my days of hedging a bet or not saying what I think, those days can go straight to hell. So the F, the S words. I've been trying to be a good boy and not doing that stuff quite as much as I used to, but I honestly couldn't care less. If you want to name names and set various persons on fire, go for it.
Okay, I'm not going to let anybody go on fire, but I've got a very good friend that is my co-host named Dan Baker, Deplorable Dan, everybody knows him as. And just a great guy, hardworking American guy, been on the radio. He was in the Patriot movement, went all over the country and stuff. And, he would make jokes about these, I speak COVID, he would talk like that. So anyways, we started getting demonetized, and we got demonetized everywhere. We had shows that, we're not in the big leagues yet, but, 180,000 views on YouTube, which is a big mark.
Oh, shit, yes. I can't get 20.
Well, they would keep all of our stuff up there, and then they would send us emails saying, well, this has been demonetized because of that, and this has been demonetized because of that. And it literally started like strangling us for money. And so one day he came in and he's like, I just can't do it anymore, Hans. That's my name in the podcast. His name's Greg. My name is Hans.
Hans Gruber.
Yes. And, we had such a great time. And I think that in the mornings, like we talked to local people, we talked to, like Rodney Lee Conover, the producer. We just had a lot of fun. Sometimes it was political, sometimes it wasn't, but it was always joke filled and lighthearted. So you could start your day well. And we just got demonetized, and it killed us. And I was so sad to see that go away. And Dan Baker came up and visited me here a few weeks ago. He's like, I think it's time. I think it's time that we come back. We got to avoid three things. And this is the truth in this business. Here's the three things that you can't talk about. You can't talk about abortion. You can't talk about illegals, and you can't talk about what they perceive as medical misinformation. Those three things. If you talk about anything else, you're fine. You can say the F word. You can talk about the corn with the P. You can talk about anything. You just can't talk about those three things. So we're setting the show back up. We're going to go back into doing a lot of dumb jokes, having fun. But it's funny, if you go on and you hit ChatGPT and ask what Morning Crankers was, it gives the pros and cons. And there's a lot of pros. And then you go to the last two cons, and it says that the listener can tell the political leanings of the hosts. They got that as a con. Okay. And to me, that's not a con, because
that's not a glitch, dude. That's a feature. Okay.
Yeah. You know what? I'm pro-America. I'm pro-Christian. I'm pro-family. I'm pro-small business. I'm almost Mexican. You know what I'm saying? So, it's everything that the globe or the globalists, it's those things that they want to shake from us, like our families. They want to destroy the family. They want to destroy patriotism, because patriotism leads to nationalism. And I say, kiss my ass. Yeah. It doesn't lead to nationalism. It leads to happy, healthy communities with thriving people. So I'm glad I got this place to come here and feel some of that emotion again, because it does piss me off. And, it does piss me off that I have to self-regulate. But here's the thing. I can't reinvent the wheel. And if you don't play the game a little bit, you're never, ever going to be able to let people hear a message ever. And that's the thing that sucks, BZ.
Oh, hell yeah. But, I'm so ready. If I kick the bucket tomorrow, I've done a shit ton of stuff that 99.8% of the people on the planet haven't done. There's things that I've done that are so terrible and egregious, and there's things that are so wonderful and so kick-ass. And honestly, I don't know whether I'm going, up above or down below, but the day that I expire, I told my wife, don't waste ground on me. Don't waste space for the living. Go flame my ass. Put me in a Folgers coffee can. Go find an empty and a slightly open door on a Union Pacific boxcar. Put me around the corner in that thing and let it take me to Poughkeepsie. And in the meantime, all the bums and stuff that rumble around in that and throw their cigarette butts in there and maybe piss on me, hey, that's cool. That's another experience that I'll be having. But, I am so done. You mentioned those three things. Dude, that's my show. plus a lot of other stuff. And I'm coming up with another show on occasional Sundays. It's going to be starting with drones. It's going to be called, and if this name, it's like I'm going out of my way to get fucked with. The name of the show is Access Denied 404 Forbidden.
That is beautiful.
Now,
because my website used to say that all the time when I'd get knocked off.
That's what I was on Facebook. Somebody sent me something. I clicked on it and it said 404 Forbidden. And I thought, dun, 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 Forbidden. Not.
I want to say hi to the fans.
You are forbidden from going there.
Well, I mean, they do stop us, unfortunately. Reaver of Common Sense, the Phantom Sean Stroik. Hello, they're over on YouTube.
Hey, this is so weird because you did my job, so thank you. I appreciate it. I'll be sending you a fresh nickel, a shiny nickel that I'll mail it to you in an envelope that somebody in the post office will probably already rip up, open it, steal the nickel, put in a lump of coal and mail it to you. So anyway, Phantom, SHR Media, God, that's me, Sean, Reaver of Common Sense. Already I'm on, now for me, let's see, last Tuesday, number 46, comma, you bastard. But I had 180 people. I think it was watching live on YouTube, because I think that's where the comments come from here. And I think there's a way to do that. And already I'm up to 69 people here. I believe it's on YouTube. And then, I have to do my own personal BZ can't do math analytics at the end of the show, because I ship myself to a whole bunch of different places.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Producer, when I'm talking, would you do me a damn favor and put me up there? Thank you. God, this guy isn't worth the money that I'm paying him. It's about $110,000 a year. God, this guy, why to the moon, Alice? Oh, and I hit 70 now. So anyway, thanks for watching tonight. Jeremy Hansen, thanks for being here. We're going to be talking about New Orleans, Las Vegas. Little of this crap makes sense. And I thought, okay, well, 2025, you can go into AI. I've actually dipped my toe just a bit into AI, and I created that, if you could call that creation. You write something in AI, but that's 2025, dude. And this is what we have. I was thinking, okay, yesterday, those two stupid things stepped off, and then there was this underwater volcano off Oregon coast expected to erupt in 2025. Well, what a lot of people don't know is that there is a huge fault running just off of Oregon, and it's called the Cascadia line. And the Cascadia line is bigger and more serious than San Andreas. And if the Cascadia ever popped off, bad things would be happening. Not quite on the order of Yellowstone, but certainly in excess of, say, St. Helens, that kind of stuff. I found out later that in my area around here, when Helens popped off, 1980, right around in there, there was 1.5 feet of ash in my town right here because it was so close. But I mean, my God, all the stupid crap that's happening right now could happen. And it's like, God, the Chinese said something similar to, may you live in interesting times. And I discovered that that's a simple, very Chinese way of saying, screw you. It's very true. Well, let's start with yesterday. There was an attack on Bourbon Street. 14 people ended up getting killed, plus the suspect who, that's immaterial. He doesn't count. But with that, on the same day, another attack occurred. And I'm not, Jeremy Hansen, I'm not sure that you can even quantify Las Vegas as an attack per se. I mean, it's all so damn weird. And one of the things that came out from the Hill yesterday, Josh Hawley wants to haul 2 other people again in front of Congress to testify about the New Orleans attack. Now, I have to give a little bit of credit where credit is due. I can remember distinctly on a number of occasions, FBI Director Christopher Wray saying something similar to, gird thy loins, boys and girls, because there's going to be some serious crap coming up in the terrorist world. And then after that, I'll get to what happened with the FBI. But looking at this kind of stuff, yeah, you're going to haul Mayorkas up to try to, I don't know what the point of this is. It's like, these dudes are all lame ducks. None of these guys give a shit about the American people. Ray may kind of, sort of. I'm not convinced that Mayorkas does. There may be a bit of a guilty bone. I don't even want to go there with Ray. But the FBI is so abjectly terrible. And I've got video coming up with this. And then, I don't know. Let me ask you, Jeremy Hansen, what do you think? Do you have any opinions or thoughts about Marjorie Taylor Greene?
Love her.
Okay.
I think she's bombastic sometimes, but God, it feels good to listen to a woman talk from her heart and be truthful. Okay. It feels really good.
Funny you should mention that, because...
Yeah, absolutely. We've watched for 4 years now. The FBI was more interested in tracking down people that protested the election on January 6, 2021. They raided Mar-a-Lago, went after pro-life protesters, parents holding their school boards accountable, people that really weren't following COVID insanity.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that's a misallocation of resources based on the leadership of this administration, the leadership at the FBI, leadership. We could go across the board of every agency and department. It's not that they're lacking the money, because the American people are funding plenty of money into this federal government, so much so that they're $36 trillion in debt. But it's a failure of where they're focusing their time and their effort, and realizing who our true enemies are. Our true enemies are terrorists that want to kill Americans. It's not Americans that want to hold their government accountable. Obviously, the inauguration.
I got to agree with her 110%. We know, let me see if I can get up to this. This typifies what occurred. You have a guy in a truck who ran people down. We'll get into NOLA and how that happened in the first place. But the FBI initially said, and I'm going to play that video because I want to embarrass the shit out of that person. This is, if they could have gotten away with this, the FBI would have done that. That's the first thing that they were thinking about. They weren't thinking about the truth at the time. 5-year-olds knew the reasoning behind that attack. And with like this, who are they going to blame it on? Well, bird flu, global warming. There are too many weird ass things that are occurring right now. Overall, Jeremy Hansen, any thoughts or feelings about, well, first let's start with New Orleans. Any thoughts or feelings about that crazy ass thing?
Sure. Can I answer your question with the news article?
Oh, please.
Okay. New York Post published June 18th, 2024. More officials issue imminent terrorist attack warnings. And it says U.S. House Intelligence Committee Chairman Representative Mike Turner told Face the Nation Sunday, we are at the highest level of a possible terrorist threat resulting from the Biden administration. He issued the warning after 8 foreign nationals traveling from Tajikistan with ties to ISIS were arrested. The men were released into the country by U.S. Border Patrol agents after they were apprehended for illegally entering the U.S. through the southwestern border. And under the current administration policy, instead of processing inadmissible illegal foreign nationals for deportation, they are released into the U.S. with a notice to appear document for a future immigration court date. The agents claimed they didn't have information tying them to ISIS when they vetted and released them. However, law enforcement subsequently became concerned with their presence in the U.S. and took action. FBI, Joint Terrorism Task Forces, and Department of Homeland Security agents arrested 8 terrorists in Philadelphia, Los Angeles, and New York, and they are currently in Immigration and Customs Enforcement custody pending removal proceedings. It says Turner said what's important about these reports is that terrorism threat is no longer speculative. It is no longer hypothetical. So there's the top guys. I mean, literally the top guys in our government in June of this year telling us it is imminent. This stuff is going to happen. Now, where was America? Well, they weren't hearing about this because we have this really bad habit of trying to make whoever's in office look good instead of just telling the truth about what's going on. This was out there. Now it's New York Post. So, half the country won't read the New York Post because it has a political slant, but every single, news station out there does. But here it is. This has been going on for a long time. If you remember, what was it, 2 years ago, BZ? We had the van that ran into New York and ran like 17 people over.
Right, exactly.
This has been going on over and over and over. And for some reason, maybe it's the New Year's, the hope was shattered. I don't know what it is, but something happened where this news actually became news because a lot of it was not news.
Well, you couldn't avoid it. It was on TV. It made national news. And the other reason that I think that it reverberated with people and that Democrats couldn't avoid it is because primarily it didn't involve a gun. And
True.
so you got to cover for, I'll just be blunt, you got to cover for Islam. You got to cover for brown people. You got to cover for people with firearms. This is a bad actor that makes you wonder. It makes me wonder, and all thinking people should be wondering, if some kind of a locus involved in all of this happens to be Fort Bragg, and then we've got another story that I want to tell everybody about another guy that got arrested, that was a military guy. What kind of vetting are we doing in the military in the first place? Are we so hard ass up for warm bodies? Well, that's pretty much true. For trans units and everything else, Lloyd Austin double, triple masking with the helmet over his head for Wuhan 19.
Hey, it's Ryan Seacrest. Life comes at you fast, which is why it's important to find some time to relax. A little you time. Enter Chumba Casino. With no download required, you can jump on anytime, anywhere for the chance to redeem some serious prizes. So treat yourself with Chumba Casino and play over 100 online casino-style games, all for free. Go to ChumbaCasino.com to collect your free welcome bonus. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
We're apparently so hard up for bodies that we'll take anything that's warm. And apparently these people are coming in. It's an abortion on toast. I don't know how else to quantify that. And we are so desperate for individuals that apparently, oh hell, like any other, like law enforcement, like the military, like companies, etc. We're just hard up for people. jobs,
Well, let's say his name, Shamsud Din Jabbar. Jabbar. Okay. So this guy, Fort Bragg, which is kind of funny because same unit, same Fort Bragg that the other guy went to. And by the way, Din Jabbar decided to take a leave of absence from the military. He left. Guess where he went? He went to Egypt, and he went and paid homage to CAIR. Okay, CAIR. Can you look up real quick, Busy, how much money the United States of America gives to CAIR?
I would wager millions, and I'll state the obvious. CAIR is the PR firm of Islamists, period. End of statement. It's the PR firm of Islamists who don't mind slaughtering Western people.
Yep.
I've said it before, and I will say it again, and obviously this is not going to go anywhere. Islam, as practiced, is incompatible with Western civilization. Now, certainly, there are certain aspects of Islam, when they point to all the pedophiles that we have. Okay, I grok that concept. I get it. We hate that crap too. But I guarantee you that if, say, Catholicism was responsible for a fraction of the deaths and the killings that are done in the name of Islam, you'd probably have seen a pogrom against Catholic churches burned to the ground years ago. And the only difference is Catholics won't kill you in the dead of night with guns.
Facts
and evidence. I don't know any other way of placing that. And if that makes me an ist or a obe, etc., look at me, people. Do I look like I really give a fuck? No, I don't. I'm done hedging bets. So if I'm wrong, Jeremy Hansen, please educate me, if you would.
No, I'm not going to say you're wrong. I will say this. There is a group of Islamists here in America that are very much like Christians in America. They go to church once in a while, or they go to the, if you're Jewish, they go to the synagogue, whatever. They do their thing. And we've got that group here, and they're not like fundamentalists. But what we have is this radicalization of people from all over. And for some reason, the world government, the globalists out there, they want to put their foot on the accelerator with this radicalization. Remember, ISIS was supposed to be gone. Okay, ISIS was supposed to be gone. But CAIR coddled ISIS in its hands, and it started pushing different sects. Now, I got my own, I wouldn't even say theories because I know them to be facts. This goes all the way back to Benghazi. Okay, the reason that Benghazi happened was because the beloved Hillary Clinton was going to get caught at the State Department with her CIA selling weapons.
It was gun running.
Yes,
it was gun running. There was a guy, folks, look up the name Mark Turi, Turi, and you'll discover that he was running guns, and that Christopher who was the consulate. He's not the ambassador. There's a different name for it, for the ambassador of that particular consulate, but he was aware essentially of what was going on.
Correct.
And the CIA disavowed. God, you go into Benghazi again. It's. I've said this before, and I will say this again. The sooner we make ourselves energy independent, as we were fairly well under Trump, and that we do that again and try to distance ourselves from the Middle East version of Islam as practiced. I have another story about a guy that was about, it's my show, I may as well do it anyway, and I've missed the commercials, and so I've decided, what the hell, it's my show, and we're not going to do that tonight. We're just going to continue. 92 people watching live right now. Thanks to everybody who's being here tonight, and thanks to everybody who's watching. Phantom, Sean, Reaver, JEFF, Lost Wanderer from Alpha Centauri. He came a long damn distance to be here tonight. Anyway, to all those people, thank you. There are folks that I've spoken to who have said, and to a degree, Jeremy Hansen, I would agree with you, that there are Muslims in this country who are not the typical Islamist. And after having spoken to a couple of people, when I was in my department and supervising individuals, I would speak to them about what they saw with regard to the sand pit, Afghanistan, Iraq, any number of them. Good dudes and a couple of dudettes, one and all. Great people. And I would tell them, what are some of the things that kind of shocked you about that area, if anything at all? Maybe you weren't shocked about anything. And almost every one of them in their own way said something very similar to, the folks that I've spoken to that were true practicing Muslims are talking about those that are not jihadis and saying essentially they're the ones that aren't practicing Islam right. So, yes, there are moderate Muslims, but the moderate Muslims are those that individuals who are big adherents to Islam say they're the ones not doing it right. The other thing that I discovered was people became aware of Bakabatsi boys. Go look that shit up. That's a tub of fun if you don't know what it is. The other thing that a number of them in their own ways said that they discovered that they had heard about, but you're not supposed to talk about it and you're not supposed to bring it home, is they discovered that boys are for pleasure and girls and women are for procreation. Now, I never said that our civilization was the end all and be all, but all the people and the leftists who love.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.